John! I returned to the storefront and helped him up. They grabbed her! What? It was becoming harder and harder to hear in the unhinged crowd. Your arm! It's bleeding! John watched me as I removed his handkerchief and tied it around his arm. We need to get you to a doctor. No, it was a clean graze. I'll be okay. I'm so sorry. I felt responsible. John grabbed onto me and we made our way through the crowd, accessing alleyways when we could. Finally, we made it out of the square and away from the heavy crowds. Stopping on a corner, John began to laugh. What? You're laughing? John smirked at me as he proudly said it. Hector Wallace gave Victor Malone the slip. But that don't mean I won't kick your ass myself, John scolded. I looked at John with a pained face when they saw their friend Douglas walking toward them. Man, what a crazy day. Douglas smiles. I talked to Manny. The club's a mess. They're going to try for tomorrow if Batista can get this thing under control. But I don't know. Douglas looked down the street. I think this is a full-on revolution. I wonder if we need to start packing up. Well, let's not make any hasty moves, I said, thinking of Marta, though knowing it was complete chaos with little hope of recovering. Douglas looked over at John. Hey, what the hell happened to you? I got shot. John smiled. Wow, man, that's awful. This crowd is out of control. I gave John a look, knowing it wasn't the crowd at all, keeping our romp with Victor Malone to ourselves. Only one small band playing old Cuban jazz remained near the square. Douglas looked down the street once more. The late afternoon sun was still burning, and we were all three shiny with perspiration. I think I'm going to head back to my house and pack. And wait, I guess? Douglas pats my shoulder. Okay, man. I nodded. Be careful, John calls out as Douglas moves away and down the street. I need a drink, John finally said, and without responding, followed him across the street toward the blue bar. They took her, huh? John repeated the obvious. I looked down at my hand. I was cut in the struggle. Wallace! John takes my hand and looked concerned as he inspected the cut. How did that happen? Perched on bar stools, I started to giggle and then burst out laughing from the stress. How do you think? We just escaped a madman with a gun, John. We both began to giggle. Jesus Christ. I smiled. The intensity of the day had driven us to silliness. Then it was quiet. I think I love her, John. I surprised even myself with that statement. My eyes tear up. I know you do, man. John placed his hand on my shoulder. Listen, they're after you, and they ain't gonna stop. We've got to leave. They must be watching. How else would they have known where we were just now? John sighed, then continued. They had to have seen you with Marta and reported it back to Victor. John hopes I will see to reason and let her go. I don't see how. We were in the narrow alleyway during the height of the protests. No cars could even get into the square. My words a futile attempt to smooth it out. Well, someone saw you. I doubt it's a coincidence they knew where to find Marta. They know, Hector. Who was it who grabbed Marta anyway? Was it Bobby? John asked. No, two big guys I've never seen before. They just whisked her away to a waiting car. I fiddled with my beer bottle and continued. I guess I'm going to have to walk right in so he can crush my skull and end this. I laughed with resigned sadness. Crush your skull? Is that the threat he made to you the other day? Yep. And smear my brains on Marta's shit paintings. I looked over at John. I think those were his exact words. Jesus. He is deranged. John shook his head. Look, we've got to get out of here. They'll find you. They will. It's only a matter of time. So let 'em. I was on my second beer, feeling more helpless than ever. Look, we've got to leave, Hector, now. John was tired. No, I snapped. We finished our beers. In the coolness of the dark bar, I realized my only option. So, what are you going to do? John looked scared. I'm going to confront him. I'm going to walk in there and tell him to go fuck himself. Marta deserves that, at least. She asked me as much, and I just stood there like a child without answering. She asked you what? John was shocked. She asked me if I was going to confront him. Well, shit. What is she expecting? That's unfair. Maybe, I said. My mind was returning to hours before. I sighed, thinking of Marta's soft skin. Even if I lose my life because of it, I still wouldn't change what happened in that alleyway. I smiled slyly at John, and he knew. He poked me, raising his eyebrows. She's a peach. No doubt you deserve that. John sighed. You okay, John? You don't look so good. I'm sorry for all this. You've done so much for me here in Havana. I don't want to endanger you further. This is my fight, my problem, not yours. We stood together for a precious moment, looking around at the broken windows and seeing the battered streets of Havana rolled out in front of us. We knew our time in Cuba was over. So, I guess this is it for a while? John looks at me with concern. A man at the bar looks up as we move toward the door. I'll be okay, John, I will. When this is all over, we'll meet up again at the cafe on 41st Street, okay? I looked once more at my friend. My outstretched hand is met with John's. Take care, friend. John put his hat back on and headed for the door, turning one last time. 41st Street, John smiled. I nodded and he left. I watched until John disappeared from view. Hang on, Marta. I'm on my way, I whispered. Then, I left the Blue Bar.